And welcome back, esports fans. We have already had one game quickly put in the books here between Machi and Boom, but we'll see if Boom can hold out and turn things around for them. Hey, everybody, before we get into the matchup, I do want to take a moment to thank our wonderful sponsors, CTBC Bank, China Airlines, Chunghwa Telecom, and of course, Caliber. Yeah, you can see them right on the bottom of the screen. Now, Nightstar, let's talk about what we want to see Boom do for Game 2, because we do have a side selection swap. They're going to be on blue side. They're also going to be bringing Holo in this time around. No major surprises. This is something Boom does all the time. But what is the big change now?
I think the big change isn't really the difference between Holo and Alex, but rather the fact that they are on to blue side. They will have priority. That means they leave themselves an opportunity to get that Viego pick. However, on the side of Machi, I think they'll just go ahead, drop the Victor ban, and go Thresh, LeBlanc, and Viego for their 3 bans. We'll see if that actually is the correct read, but on the flip side, for the side of Boom, they could choose to drop Renekton, they could choose to drop Lee Sin, and try and prioritize any 3 of those champions if Viego does get let through to be their first pick. And the Renekton pick could just be a really big, just try and attempt to shut down this Camille pick instead of going for the Camille ban.
Yeah, I think it's a bold strategy, right? Let's see if it works out for him. Seems to be what I'm thinking, because Lee Kai has just looked so incredible on this Camille. Also, just been good in general, but this is the team that really very much commits to the 1-3-1 life, and we'll see if Boom can find an answer to it there. There's just so many threats. I mean, that last game we saw what happens when Lee Kai and Gemini can get fed. Atlan certainly had a wonderful performance as well. You're going to have to find somewhere to shut down. I wonder if Wako and Pop can do that in the bottom side. It was a very quiet bot lane, but things really didn't go so well elsewise. It was really kind of, Boom sort of overplayed their hand looking for objectives. I like what they were trying to do around that Herald pit, but they lost so much for it. And Machi are a team that are just so darn efficient when it comes to collecting. So we are into picks and bans with Boom on blue side now. They will go ahead and ban the Varus, but also the Viego. Renekton banned out by Machi.
Interesting ban adaptations. Machi are the ones that go ahead ban away the Renekton. I mean, it clearly does show that if Camille does get left unbanned here in this first phase, they'll just go ahead and just pick it first rotation here. And we'll see if it's either the LeBlanc or the Victor banned out here. I assume it's the LeBlanc, but you never know. Ruby, he likes his champions, and he'll pick them at odd spots as well. Very similar to the Machi draft style.
Yeah, Ruby has a very large and very unique champion pool. The LeBlanc was certainly something he found success on when he adapted to it. The Volibear ban does come through here. So clearly they want to try and set Liakai up for success. I wonder, though, does this, I mean, is it crazy to think that maybe Rocky just picks the Camille away first rotation? Okay, never mind. Ziggs is up.
Priority.
Yeah.
But Ziggs is still up. And while they didn't lock it in the previous game, which they should have, they do lock it in this time around at the very least. And it's a much better start right off the bat. However, for Machi, I fully expect Diana Camille to just come out first rotation. It's just what Machi do.
Yeah, it's a good combination, you know, to try and pick off a target, but they do opt instead for the LeBlanc pickup early for Jimmy. This is also a pickup away from Ruby as well, and you know, it definitely works well with the style of comp that they want to play. They still have Prio if they want to try and grab the Camille, unless it does get snagged by Boom. And the Aphelios is locked in once again. Atlan had a wonderful performance last time. Really great use of the ult with Gravitum. Certainly secured him a kill or two. And that's going to instantly prompt a quick Trundle pickup that should be in the bottom side for Pop. And Ruby gets his hands on his signature Vladimir. We have seen it so many times.
He goes for the Vladimir counter pick here. I honestly would have been fine with something like a Syndra, because you can set up the Syndra with the Trundle Pillar and, of course, the Ziggs terrain control. And the Vladimir pick is very odd because, again, you are going to be running double AP carry threats, which is going to incentivize Merc Treads, Banshees, Veils coming in from the side of Machi. That it could be difficult as the game goes on, but Machi, they will go ahead, lock in that Diana, and now boom, you're given a second opportunity to correct your mistakes. Just go ahead and ban the Camille. Just do it.
Well, we'll see. They are taking their time. Leona actually gets banned by Machi up against the side of Pop. So I wonder if this Trundle maybe is possibly going in the jungle position. Looking at this lineup, I feel like this is definitely much more of a support pickup, but clearly Machi aren't convinced.
Yep.
And Boom themselves will go to start hitting the support pool as well. So that's going to get pinched for Koala, certainly, but he does have options. His Rakan was excellent last game. Wouldn't be too surprised if he picks it up again.
Rakan also does decently into the Trundle. And I would fully expect the Trundle to go into that support role because of how dominating Ziggs Trundle is as a duo and how good it is against an Aphelios, especially. In mobile backline, you throw up the pillar behind him and he just has nowhere to go. And it will be the set.
No Camille ban there, Nightstar. Yeah. So let's see how this one shakes out. Machi don't have a hugely tanky composition. But, they've shown in the past they don't necessarily need it. Yep, they're going to go ahead and lock the Camille in. And this is just, it's looking not too dissimilar from the last game's composition. We'll see what Boom answer with. For those of you possibly wondering, no action is not available, but we can't stop them from flashing it. So that is going to be the Boom answer. Let's find out what it ends up going. This would be interesting. Hold up a second. Yeah, there we go. Swap it back in the last second. It's going to be a Jax lock-in.
Makes a lot of sense.
Rocky's taking it to him. I like this. It's a good change-up. Add some AD in there.
They need a bit more of an auto-attacking threat here. The Jax will provide that. And now we'll see if it ends up being a support or a jungle pickup here. And the Graves is a great way to round things out. Does well into lower range compositions, and that's kind of how Machi are playing it. And it will be, once again, the Rakan to come through here. But this time around, because it's into the Trundle pick, he has to be a lot more careful. If he does try and engage against this composition of Boom, it's very, very likely that the pillar goes up behind him. He has there's no follow-up coming in from the rest of his team, and he gets subjugated. He instantly blows up, and what do you know? Machi have really no other way to start the fights after that.
Yeah, I think Machi maybe have a little bit more of a niche ability to start these things off than compared to Boom the last time around, but it does seem like Boom really adapted their draft, maybe not fully, but enough to give themselves some rounded options. I like this Graves pickup at the jungle. I'm curious to see how well it works out. And curiously, neither team is particularly tanky, right? Like this could be some very explosive skirmishes.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of bloodshed if fights do break out. It's very difficult for any of these members to come out with low HP bars because of how much damage is packed in onto both sides. But the key thing for the side of Boom is the fact that instead of just going for two very vulnerable backline carries, this time they add in the Ziggs, and Ruby, instead of the Syndra, very vulnerable. Now he's on to this Vladimir, which adds another dive threat, and Graves has a lot of safety packed into his kit, is more of a bruiser rather than a fragile backline champion. So this Boom composition, a lot more robust than we saw in game one.
Yeah, we'll see if it works out for them, if they can equalize on the series and take it 1-1. It was such a decisive and honestly crushing victory for Machi. 25-minute game. And yeah, for those of you maybe tuning in right now being like, wait a minute, we've already had a game. Yeah, Machi absolutely crushed it. But this is a much better draft. We'll see if Boom Esports can certainly make this one interesting. I like what they brought to bear. Definitely speaks with some signature picks. And they are starting with a fairly safe opener. No shenanigans, really, although Holo does step up a little bit forward. And we'll take a look at our runes to kick things off. That Jax on the Conquerors.
Yep, and looking for Gathering Storm here. We do have 2 of them. It's on Vladimir and the Zig. So if Boom do take it to late game, there is a massive advantage going into their hands. And for the side of Machi, this time it's their composition put on a little bit of a timer because of how bruisery these champs are, and it will slowly but surely make things more difficult for them to deal with. Especially this Jax, that will be a pick to watch out for, because this time around, they do look to try and fight fire with fire.
Yeah, talk to me about this Jax versus Camille matchup, right? Like, it seems like it's probably not quite as straightforward as it might be on paper.
Yeah, this Jax Camille matchup is very much a skill setup. And the fact that whichever player does use their CC ability first will more than likely lose, because you can just counter the other CC skill with your own, and the trades pretty much go south right after that for the initiator. And surprised that neither player has gone for the Ignite. Usually we do see Ignite in this matchup just to try and swing the trades more in favor of one player or another.
It's a gentleman's agreement. They're not gonna go for that. Want the flashes instead. But hey, you know, what are you gonna do? Yeah, and also of course Ruby on this Vladimir provides a decent bit of safety with the pool, can avoid some of the chains, and also can be a dive threat. In fact, actually kind of forces the clone out of Jimmy in early. You know, this is definitely one of those champions that I think you know, Ruby will occasionally pull out when his back's against the wall. It's worked out more often than not. You know, you got to go back to basics sometimes.
Yeah, and at the very least, Boom, they have a very strong lane setup this time around. You can even say that they have 3 winning lanes, and given the fact that they also have a Graves who will be able to power farm match this Diana pick, it does just say the game gets better and better for them as more and more game time goes on here. We'll see where Gemini decides to attack. Of course, he wants to hit level 6 first before he really gets aggressive, and it's actually Ruby that gets the first shove here in the mid lane. And as we see, pretty much the top side is really shoved out for Boom, and in that bottom side, yes, while Zig's Trundle is extremely threatening as a 2v2 group, early levels, you would still favor the Phileas being able to get that wave shoved in.
Yeah, I don't think Boom are going to be super worried about it, since they will start to turn it around after a bit of time. And Holo actually going to come sniffing through this top side, but it's completely bare. It does throw down the ward, so they will try to be tracking Gemini at least this game. And Gemini does show in mid lane. He's actually going to dash his way in. Still only level 4, so Ruby's not super worried about a big Moonfall combination just yet. And actually, Holo's incoming as the Tides of Blood pecking away at Jimmy's health bar. Smokescreen thrown down. That's a lot of damage. The end of the line is going to be able to dish a little bit more, but not enough to secure the kill. So both junglers kind of matching on pressure in this mid lane.
And the big part of Gemini's goal was accomplished in the fact that he was able to get that wave crashed in the mid lane. Of course, Demian didn't have any corrupting potions left, so ran out of sustain. And over in this top side, Rocky looking in a very good spot as well. He's looking aggressive here. Teleport
there's
coming
the
in
teleport.
to answer.
Actually immediately burns Flash because he doesn't want to get comboed down. Jimmy, and he was smelling some blood in the water there. Nicely played, though. Trade teleport for Flash. Certainly what you have to do. And Rocky's just going to let the wave crash now.
Rocky goes aggressive to try and hold the freeze on that wave. And while he kind of gets punished there, it's not that bad.
Hold on.
Now.
Pop is going to go down here. Actually flashes away as the Ignite burns. last tick of it, and Wako
Hollow's
actually
coming
dishing a
in.
lot of damage out, but Hollow does come through, gives up on his Krugs early, and that is an excellent satchel charge into Pillar. This is why this combo is so
Koala
deadly.
has
There's such much terrain
nowhere to
manipulation
go.
here as
Early heal.
Hollow is going
Ooh,
to go down
teleport
there.
coming
Early
in.
heal
This
comes
is
through,
Lekai.
and now they are going to be able to stop down with a couple of teleports. Ruby matching Lekai. This is a very tame party in the bot lane, though, Nightstar. Nothing comes of it.
Really good teleport coming in from Ruby to bail out that bot lane play. Jimmy, I'm looking for a trade. He's low on mana, though.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot else going for him, so Ruby feeling pretty confident that he's going to be able to just walk straight up. Ruby doesn't really have the same concerns with the mana bar as Jimmy does, as he dings level 6.
Yep. Now he has just that all-important ultimate that makes Vladimir such a threat. Of course, it's still going to be a bit of a difficult time to get into some of these fights if they are just full-blown team fights. And that is the one concern for this Vladimir because of how split up Machi should be looking to play. It could be difficult for him to actually get large value out of his ultimate, so he's going to mostly be getting 1 or 2 man ults, and Hollow did use his smite on the crab, and
it's up already. Yeah, okay. That was a bit dangerous. Well, yeah. It was good blocking from Pop and Wako even coming in to defuse that, but I was starting to get flashes back to last game, Nightstar, when they kind of greeted a little bit on the Herald and ended up costing them huge. Wako does step up a little far forward here. Gemini ain't coming. Gotta be careful. Flash dash. That's gonna be a huge moonfall onto Wako and Pop. And what a play for First Blood. Money straight into the pocket of Gemini.
Gemini hits level 6, and as expected, he pulls off a massive play right off the bat. Want to be in that bottom lane. We get to see the replay. The pillar comes out to try and disengage the situation, but it's not good enough. Gemini has a flash available, flashes forward, that allows Koala to then follow up onto the play, and now Ruby looking for the 1v1.
Oh, that Hemo play, yeah, he knew exactly. Is it going to be enough? No! Oh, that was so close, though, Ruby.
Wow. Okay.
Just like Graves, though, no cigar.
For sure. However, that still forces the back onto Jimmy, and it also means that he doesn't have a splash available. And look at this dire state of this lane in that mid lane. He's down huge. 15 CS. That's almost 3 waves. He's a full level down at the moment. I would assume it's... Actually, it is very close to just a full level, because you see Ruby, he's about to ding 8. That's just so much EXP lost. It's now 3 waves of minions lost as far as the CS goes. And this is just Boom just putting on a showcase on if they're allowed to play lane phase, they will indeed take the fight to you. But now it's a Rift Herald.
It's going to be the engage coming in from Koala. Does get the knock up, and will they be able to make him pay for it? Hollow with the massive collateral damage. Wako even chucking the Mega Inferno Bomb off the back half. Double kill already picked up by Gemini. He will fall to Ruby.
Turning it around.
And that is going to be enough damage left in the tank. Followed through on the auto and the burn. Ruby is able to equalize on the kills. Well done by Boom Esports.
And this Vladimir pick coming online, the first time he played Vlad into the LeBlanc. That was where he really showed the power of this pick. It was around Rift Herald in that first game, and he really popped off and was able to hard snowball right afterwards. As we see, Machi, once again, they look for the fight around Rift Herald. And while it started out well, Ruby able to dodge a lot of damage with that pool, then gets to turn things around with really well executed play from him. And Boom given a big lifeline here. And remember, for Machi, this is a composition this time around that is put onto a bit of a timer here, even though it looks very similar to what they had in game number 1. Because of Boom's draft adaptations, it is just going to really drop off in comparison to Boom's draft.
Yeah, Boom have looked a lot better already. Rocky does go a little bit over-aggressive here and is forced to burn his flash, but now the hookshot comes in after the Counter-Strike, and this should be cleanup with the pull-in on the Moonfall. Leakai has taken one. So Machi certainly aren't done just yet. They need to stack some more kills onto their main carries, and two of them right there up in the top side. Meanwhile, though, Ruby is just putting on a clinic in this mid lane. It's not every day that Jimmy gets schooled in lane.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
He's down over 20 CS, and he's now down at least a level and a half here. As G-Man will tick over to 8, but I would assume Ruby is far ahead when it comes to the EXP department.
He's already got 9.
Yeah, he's already 9. He should be very close to 10 here. And essentially, Machi are just playing with just an absolute black hole in the mid lane because they can't do anything with this LeBlanc pick.
No, they can't. Now, Pop does go a little too hard right here, and he's actually going to get taken down. They were looking to set up a dive, and they might still do it, but that was a little bit uncoordinated on the Boom side. We talk about the communication issues. Sometimes it can be like that.
Pop not having a great time here. However, it's still looking very, very good for their solo laners. Yes, we've seen a couple of mishaps when it comes to the laning phase from Rocky. Should see the replay of how this transpired in that bot lane, and they just weren't ready, right? The side of Boom, they were still pathing down towards bot with that mid jungle duo, and Pop had already just fully committed to that fight, so not quite set up there. And yeah,
a little unfortunate.
But going back to Rocky, even though he had mishaps in the lane phase, CS department not a problem at all.
Rocky's just fine. He's waiting for late game Jack strats, right? I mean, like, it's easy, considering there's been a number of flashy plays, it's easy to forget that, like, when you're taking a Jax, you kind of just want to live in a side lane. You're just going to donk, donk, donk on every tower, but we're way far away from that anyways. He's been getting a little bit of help from Polo up there, as we will get a Mountain Rift this game, a little bit extra terrain to work with, so, you know, Pop might be able to set up some interesting plays there, but at the moment, the big threat that Boom have going for them is Ruby, and he is massive. I mean, this Vladimir certainly works out more often than not, and that is the threat that Machi have to contend with, and this is the point in the game where they're supposed to be strong.
And there's just so much burst potential coming in from the side of Boom.
There we go.
And he's going to run out of there, and it's just so much damage loaded in. But look at Ruby's build as he actually has the Rift Maker completed. That you would normally say is problematic. Gemini goes in for the flash, but doesn't land it.
Yeah, that was Holo flashing for flash, but yeah, I think Ruby, this just shows how confident he is, how far ahead he is. He can just kind of keep this going. In fact, he might just straight up dive as he flashes in and gets the kill. Didn't even need Holo on the second half of that. Here comes Gemini for round 2.
Here doesn't have ult, remember.
Ruby's just massive. What are you doing? You can't dive the Vladimir. Meanwhile, Wako's going to fall, but I don't know if it matters.
Machi are really just falling apart at the seams. Of course, the crux of their team has always just been around playing topside, and when half of that win condition just drops off the face of the map, yes, you're going to have a lot of issues, but that's also going to be first tower going into the hands of Boom, and they are sitting absolutely pretty. Now, going back to this build choice coming in from Vladimir. Okay, well, first we got to see how this pick onto Wako
a little overly aggressive.
Ooh, actually,
that was a good combo from Atlan and Koala, yeah.
He just hits a beautiful turn, and Wako walks up to try and get the wave. And they just have the wave here. He knows if he doesn't kill the wave here, he's just going to get dove, and that's exactly what happens as Atlan gets enough chip damage. The ignite is enough to finish off the job. At the very least, he gets those minions. And now we can come back to the Rift Maker. Normally, Rift Maker is pretty troll on Vladimir because you need the extra mobility coming in from something like a Hextech Rocket Belt. But in this case, given the fact that you have a Camille, you have a Diana, you have the LeBlanc, you have the Rakan, all these champions are looking to kind of run in at you. You kind of get away with being able to skip out on that. Okay. All right. Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
You get to skip out on that extra mobility. And, Machi, I think they're looking towards game 3.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird change of pace from game 1. I mean, very, very different. The draft obviously made a huge difference, but Ruby's kind of running wild. And yeah, it speaks to the confidence that he doesn't feel he needs something like the Rocket Belt to close the distance, because he actually hasn't. Everybody's been coming to him. Jimmy and, you know, I talked Jimmy up at the start of the series because he normally is really good, but he doesn't look like it in this game. It's not all on individual performance, but they just haven't been able to find an answer here. Yeah, Koala definitely better be out of there. And now that Boom have started to open up the map on 2 of these 3 lanes, they can certainly look to play towards top side. And okay, that is big collateral damage. Honestly, Hollow's just kind of using that as like cover fire.
He's, you know, there's just so much burst damage coming in from the side of Boom. You have the Mega Inferno Bomb, you have the collateral damage, you have, of course, the
it's in the name.
Well.
It's in the name, Nightstar.
Yeah,
they are Boom Esports.
Yeah, it's really, they have one-shot potential. They have extended fight potential because it's still Graves, Ziggs, Jax, and they also have so much terrain control. So there's so much going in favor for the side of Boom Esports, and they could have had this in game number 1, just pick the Ziggs, but they decided to forego that, and they pay the price. But they make up for those draft errors, and now it just comes down to, well, how clean does this game look like for the side of Boom Esports? Does it get dragged out to 40 minutes?
I don't know. I mean, if they do get to the 40-minute mark, I mean, you got a Vlad, you got a Ziggs, you got a Jax. They have all the tools to just hard out scale. But, you know, I would like, this is my wish list for Boom Esports. I would like to see a clean closeout from this team because I know they can do it. I believe in Boom Esports. Nightstar, do you believe? Your silence speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Either way, they're doing what they need to right now. Like 18 minutes on the clock, they've been able to secure all the objectives. They are seeing Machi match a little bit in tower pressure because Likai is still Likai. He's just going to take a little longer to get online in this game, and he doesn't have everybody at his back. But, you know, what do Machi need to be doing? Do they need to be forcing fights here?
The issue with trying to force fights is the fact that, again, you're kind of just isolated away from G-Man, and if Ruby ever gets his teleport off, his teleport just brings a lot more value than what G-Man brings at the moment, because you look at item comparison, there's 2 items. However, Gemini, he's in trouble.
Yeah, Exhaust is on. Pop gonna look to chase him down. Actually puts the pillar, but Koala was there. Yeah, that was a bit of a... I think a bit of mixed focus on that one.
Communication issues.
Yeah, didn't want to say it, but probably. Herald will be popped in bot. Ruby's got 2 levels on Jimmy, and at this point, it's hard to watch. Jimmy's not having a good time. It's doomed. It's doomed. Okay, yeah, I think we are officially in doomed territory for Jimmy.
Oh Lord, yeah, it's a full item difference. It's 3K gold in the hands of Ruby here. And
oh my god! Oh
dead.
No! Oh, that was disgusting, Ruby. Yeah, you see it right there. They're going to be able to turn in on the towers. All of a sudden, the go button is
dead
hit.
too.
That's going to be the quickest coming in. They will get 1 knockup and maybe try to turn it around, but Gemini is going to fall. And Ruby's still on the front line. That Vladimir is running wild.
That's an inhib at 20 minutes here. They can actually secure it. Of course, they do have Graves and Ziggs. They have more than enough damage. And now the recall, or actually, it was the teleport coming in from Araki into the mid lane to salvage that tower, so they're able to really cover all their bases, and it just comes down to this difference in play. Ruby is just on another level. When he gets an isolated matchup, he just does filthy things, and Gemini unable to influence this matchup early on because he is on that Diana, and that means Ruby just gets away with any strange things he tries to pull off.
He gets away with murder. I mean, this is Assassin Vlad right now. You want to talk about a magic trick? He made the LeBlanc's health bar disappear. Ruby is, honestly, if he doesn't get MVP this game, it's a crime.
It truly is. Ruby is just unreal. He's almost to the Zanya's hourglass. That just makes it even more difficult to deal with them, because by the time he comes out of stasis from that stopwatch, could very well just have his pool back up available.
Right.
He's already level 14. He's so far ahead when it comes to the EXP levels in this game, and now you have super minions pushing up through bot lane, and that means boom, they can threaten Baron non-stop because Lee Kai, he has to be the one to deal with it, but he doesn't really push it out that fast.
Okay. This is going to be the Baron start. Machi know this is happening, but look at how fast Boom shred this at 21.5 minutes. And
yep.
Will Gemini be able to pull off the steal down to 3,000 hit points here?
They don't need to commit, too.
Kind of, yeah, they're second guessing it. They don't want to necessarily give the opportunity for the
first
steal
have the
over, so they
teleport.
back away. That's a nice trade.
Yep. They were able to force the teleport coming in from Lee Kai and possibly get a pick onto him, but a little bit too slippery. Still on the Camille, of course. Now they can just wait for Lee Kai to reset, see where he decides to go. Someone has to answer that
Huge
super minion
bot.
wave, and they can just make their way back over to the Baron. G-Man, he's trying to be influential, but 22 minutes still... I think he's still only on the Luden's Tempest.
Yeah, zero stack Dark Seal.
Amounts of damage.
It's not a great game for Jimmy, and unfortunately, he's going to need to unleash the power of his hair, I think, for the next pick and ban phase.
Yeah, and Lee Kai shows bot lane now. Fortunately for the side of Machi, Boom are on a reset. But even this dragon plays against Machi, because Ocean, you would say, is probably better for the side of Machi, because you can still one-shot people with this LeBlanc pick if it is the case, but now it's a mountain. So you're getting extra resistances, which makes it even harder for this LeBlanc to actually find a burst combo onto any of these targets. It also means, well, Ruby, he becomes even more of a terror to try and take down.
Yeah, easy dragon shred, so now soul point for the side of Boom Esports, and they look to catch Koala, but he does have the battle dance, is able to safely get away, but Boom looking to close in on this one, throw it on the smoke screen for Hollow, and collateral damage, trying to get them low. Ruby does face check into Jimmy in. Even when he's taken low, though, he's rooted for days. He's still not under huge threat as the Mega Inferno Bomb comes into the back line. Meanwhile, Koala didn't have any backup there as Gemini comes in, goes for the big Moonfall. Not enough deletion damage, and they just can't do it. That honestly looked so good for Machi, but they don't have the damage to dish. And meanwhile, Rocky still in the bottom side, just keeps those minions pushed up.
I don't know where Rocky was, to be honest, there, but
not in the fight.
Still,
Pop stays alive. Siege on the tower. Oh man,
go down. It is.
It's so it's so easy. This is such a brutal sieging composition at the moment, and
now they just have to play ARAM now. Pyra. They don't have to do anything extravagant. Once again, they do see Lee Kai in this bottom lane. Inhib will be spawning, so they can't go back and do the Baron shenanigans, as Lee Kai will be a bit free to make his way over instead of having to deal with those Baron minions, or not Baron minions, super minions in that bot side. And I would assume, boom, they try and retake that inhib. and reapply and kind of rinse and repeat. But Dragon is up in 3 minutes. They could take it slow.
Ooh, good pillar, mega inferno bomb. It's only going to land on one, but they do pick up Atlan, or look for Atlan to be picked up. Meanwhile, Gemini does go in, gets a big moonfall, not enough damage to get the deletion.
Vladimir is on his way. He is
this
spotted.
is looking like a lot of targets there for Ruby. Yeah, yeah. You got to get out of there. I think that's going to be a reset. That's going to be a back.
And now it's also going to be most likely Boom starting out the Baron. They've chunked out so many. Well, actually, the chunk out isn't that bad, but
Ruby's just playing
by
keep
Gemini.
away at this point.
Yeah, Gemini doesn't have a whole lot of possibilities to influence this next play here.
Could try to go for a steal. That's going to be the hope for Machi at the moment. Baron already down to about 4,000 hit points. Machi, they're still all alive here. Pop trying to bait him around the side, into the back. Gemini, he's going to go gold for just a couple of seconds. They have enough time. Pop buying time for the rest of the team. This is going to be secured. They have not lost a member, but you can't say the same for Machi Esports. Now that starts to change. Likai taking out Pop. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Baron secured by Boom. Should be happy about that.
Baron secured by Boom. Big deal for them, as they have 2 minutes to really flex their muscles here on this map. We get to see the replay. Ruby just instantly turns on to Gemini, knows that the only way that they lose, things go south, is if he is able to get over the wall and smite away that Baron. And honestly, it was pretty close. It was at 1200 HP when he got into the pit. So
yeah, but he died immediately.
Yeah. He did die immediately, but he got to get a quick peek and see how close he was to making the magic happen. But yeah, a 1-for-1 trade still very much in favor of Boom, as they only lose their support. And now things are about to get real dicey because it's a siege comp with Baron buff.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, at this point, Rocky hasn't even really needed to be involved in these fights because he can just keep the pressure on a lane. He's going to do that, get joined by his team down bottom. It should be an easy, quick inhib take. And, yeah, Ruby has just been on point. He's been able to play frontline Vlad. He's a higher level than everyone else in the game, and it's not even close.
He's level 16.
Nobody can contest him.
He just walks up to the inhib, and Machi just have to go, well, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be the turn for the engage, but Ruby into the pool he goes. Gemini trying to find the deletion. He's going to go into the Zanya's Hourglass and not go down anytime soon. The unkillable Vladimir is just wreaking havoc in the back of the line. You can see Wako chucking out the Mega Inferno Bomb for even more. And this has got to be it, as Boom are looking to equalize the series here. It's just too easy at this point. So far ahead. Great lane performance from Boom. Maybe not as fast of a game, but there's nowhere for Machi to go. They just try over and over again, but, you know, that's the definition of insanity, expecting things to change there, Nightstar. And that is going to be it. 28 minutes and some change. Boom will equalize the series 1-1.
And the most impressive part was the fact that they were able to end the game in 28 minutes here. Boom Esports answering back in kind. It was clinic in game number 2. It was an absolute slaughter in game number 2 as well for Boom.
Right. That's a fast Boom game.
Yeah.
28 minutes is like their average going into this for the whole split, 33, 34 minutes. That's a huge improvement. And they did exactly what they needed to.
And the crux of that was the Ruby Vladimir. This is a pick that, while doesn't have a lot of value into straight up team fight compositions because of how split this comp was from the side of Machi, got a lot of 1v1 value rather than just the team fight value. And because of the Rift Maker, he was just so durable in these fights, having that extra Omni Vamp and just absolutely unkillable.
Yeah, he really didn't need the Rocket Belt because, well, I mean, you look at the opposite side, there was a lot of dash-ins to try and make the plays. The counter engages were just way too good from the side of Boom Esports. And Machi, they never really found the footing this game. And I think that was the surprising thing, because there was certainly a window of opportunity. I was really surprised to see how far behind Jimmy fell, because he just couldn't really get any attention from Gemini, at least none that wasn't immediately matched on the opposite side by Holo. Really well played by the entire squad of Boom. I think the coordination, with a few exceptions, was on a level that we don't often see from them. I am thinking the exception down bottom side where there was maybe a little bit of a misfire, and you can see Wako and Pop kind of getting a little too hyphy too early. But really nice playing overall, recognizing the win condition, realizing they had late game, but they could still accelerate the game pace. So that's I think the Boom that a lot of people were expecting to see coming into the series that we didn't get to see game one. So it really has been night and day here. So Nightstar, I mean, it seems like we got a series on our hands.
We do indeed have a series on our hands here. And for the side of Boom, it's really nice to see the draft adaptations coming out from them in game number 2. But the big thing is, like, Machi, do they have another strategy? Because they just keep trying to go back into this composition no matter the situation. And we saw it in their series against Megabank Beyond Gaming. I mean, they lost the series. So they're very similar kind of one-trick style. If it doesn't land, they just run into a whole lot of issues. As we get to see the damage charts, and it's very clear they couldn't touch the Vladimir and they couldn't touch the Ziggs because of how large the Vladimir was as well.
Yeah, and this is the first time Boom have actually been able to get a victory on the season over, or rather split over Machi. So, nicely done by them. But you're right. It's not quite the same as, like, I think the Hong Kong attitude strategy of just kind of piling all the kills into Kongye and hoping that he's going to be able to carry the game. Machi have a lot more tools at their disposal, but they do stick to the same style of trying to play for the 1-3-1 composition. Unfortunately, Boom, fortunately for them, Boom just really sniffed it out and were able to take advantage of the picks that were left open. I think that Ziggs was really instrumental in setting up plays and really just shredding down towers. The siege comp was beautiful. But Ruby was absolutely on point this game, and it should come as no surprise that he gets the MVP with a whopping 91.5 kill participation, over 30% of his team's damage, nearly a third, and a perfect KDA. So, hats off to Ruby this game. He plays a signature champion and he makes it look good, reminding everybody why he's solid and why you have to at least consider the Vladimir as a potential counter pick if you're going to take something like the LeBlanc.
And part of the reason why this Vladimir was allowed to just free scale through the game was the fact that they just didn't have a way to punish it. They had the Rakan, which is looking to scale rather than just hard early roam and really punish you in the lanes. But then you also have this Diana pick that's also looking to scale, at least hit level 6. And by the time you hit level 6, well, Ruby's already level 7 or 8. And at level 9, he pretty much just becomes such a force as a solo laner, and he just only goes up from there.
Yeah, really not much they could do about that. But we are all tied up at 1-1. We'll have to see what Game 3 brings right after this short break.